So one of the topics of conversation that I've been having with business owners lately is why do businesses fail? We all have heard the stories, the facts and statistics about business failures, but they're all at best misinterpretations of the actual data and often just untraceable falsehoods. The most common one is this story that 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, and then another 80% of the remaining businesses fail in the next 5 years, meaning that almost all businesses fail in the first 10 years. But they never talk about why businesses fail. They never focus on that because there's a lot of story behind the data in there. And people assume it's because of financials, because of, they just run out of money. And that's actually not the most common reason. Another big one is burnout. And that is a common symptom that we see in business owners. I just saw a post this morning, a business owner saying, hey, I made my 5 years, but if you told me 5 years ago how hard this was going to be, how much I'd have to work, how much I'd have to adapt and change, I never would have done this in the first place. So what I want to share with you today are the three most common reasons, because they're all things you can do something about so that you can avoid that burnout and running out of money, which are really symptoms of the underlying problem that people just aren't talking about. So the top three problems or challenges for businesses are, first is being overly optimistic and making too broad of assumptions, right? I see this a lot in business planning where clients make crazy assumptions about the number of clients they'll get in week one, in month one, and if they're leaving another business, what percentage of their clients will follow them. And the banks and the SBA, the lenders look at those business plans and tell them how great their business plans are, yet they never pan out because the banks don't challenge the assumptions often enough. And when I see them, that's the first thing I do is I challenge every assumption because we're over optimistic, right? We're following our passion. And whether it's starting new business or an expansion, we're just over optimistic at how quickly we'll cash flow the new business when we spend $1 million expanding our building and our business. So number one problem is being overly optimistic and making grandiose assumptions. Number two is working on the wrong priorities. I see this all the time, and it's the number one thing I do with clients is I help them make better decisions by learning how to prioritize better, right? We tend to prioritize, unfortunately, with our gut, with our emotions, and that's just not the best way to do it. We have to know what data to use to make our priorities, and getting great at prioritizing and then working and then scheduling, allocating your time according to your priorities. That's another one that's really important. It's a big time management crunch too. It helps avoid that burnout that people talk about. And then the third most common reason the businesses fail is just simply a lack of business skills. Nobody teaches how to run a small business 101. You can't go get an MBA and magically know how to run a small business. It just doesn't work like that. There aren't systems out there in the public domain to learn how to run a business. So that's what a coach does. So if you want to avoid running out of money, avoid the burnout, avoid plateauing your business and feeling stuck in your business. A lot of businesses that end up closing are businesses that were very successful, got to a point where they just got stuck and it just stopped being fun for the business owner. Started being more work, more time for far less money. That's just no fun. So if you want to avoid that, learn how to avoid that, go ahead and click on the link in the description and schedule a 20-minute call with me. And we'll look at your specific situation and we'll look and see, are there areas you're being over optimistic? Are you prioritizing incorrectly? And identify what are the top business skills that would help you take your business to the next level. So if you're ready, let's see what we can figure out about your business and help you get to that place that you're going with your business faster, more profitably, with less stress.